Hello everyone, Lisa here. Welcome to What's Crafting Wednesday. I hope everyone had a very wonderful and crafty week. We are going to get started with our drawing. You see I don't have tonight's project showing yet. I have it hidden underneath here. I gave a little clue last week of what I would be making this evening, and I did have one guess, and though that was a really good guess, and it was something that I had thought about making, it's not what I decided to make, though. So let's do our drawing first, and then I will show you our adorable treat holder for tonight. Last week was Drac in our series of Halloween treat holders. Week 1 was a cauldron, week 2 was Frankie, and week 3 was Drac. So let me get my tickets out here and get my names in my trusty gold bag. And I have a ticket here, my hot little hand, and the winner is Jennifer. Well, congratulations, Jennifer. We put these aside for you. Okay, everyone, so my clue last week was it's not necessarily for Halloween, but it is for the season. So are you ready? Okay, tonight we are making a scarecrow. How cute is he? Look at, though with his hair he does kind of look like a she, but I always call scarecrows he. And there is the back. So let's get started. I am using basic beige cardstock, and let me just pick up my little packet here. I have a lot of little pieces, so I want to make sure I don't drop them because I didn't cut anything extra. All of this pile here is for our embellishing, so I'm going to put that off to the side. And I have cut I've die cut 2 cauldrons and the cardstock for the box, which is the same as in the past treat holders that I made this month. It is 7 by 3 1/8. And let's get our scoring done. Okay, we will score at 1 1/4. 3 1/4, 4 1/2, and 6 1/2. So open up my arm here and get that over to 6 1/2. And then we're going to turn it 90 degrees and we're going to score at 1 1/4. All right. So now I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to cut up on these score lines here. And I know it's a little hard to see the glare of the light and the basic beige cardstock. I'm just going to cut a little bit there on our tab. And then I'm going to cut up on all of these score lines. I have to angle it a little bit because of the glare. And then I'm just going to cut in a little bit on the tabs. Just cut these little triangles out here. And again, if you're just tuning in for the first time, the reason we're cutting this is to just ease up a little bit on the bulk for when we assemble the box so that it assembles easier. So we will fold on all the score lines. You would think, since this is the 4th week I am making this box, that I would remember the measurements, but no, I still had to look at my little cheat sheet when I prepared this one. Okay, so we'll use some Tombow here. Put some on the tab. And then bring it together here. And then just hold it for a second or two while it adheres. And then you can actually do this and that. Very good. So we are going to fold in the one flap. Let me see which is the back of the box. Doesn't really matter though, since we are putting the cauldrons on it. This would be the back. So we will first put this one down, and then we're going to put glue on the tabs. And then we're going to put glue on the bottom flap here. And you have a perfectly assembled box. And then I just like to put the bone folder in there to make sure it gets pressed down good and adheres. Okay, so I will put that off to the side for the time being. And now I have all of my pieces here for embellishing. So I've used one stamp set this evening, the More Than Autumn, and I used the, what did I use? Oh, Autumn is the Best for the sentiment on the back. And this actually is a bundle. So I did use dies from this set. I used the leaves. Those were the dies. I cut out the leaves. So I actually did use the bundle. And then I used the Crafting With You dies, and that is for the buttons. And of course, I used the Potions and Spells dies. That was for the cauldron. And I used these broom pieces for the hair. Okay, so now let's get started with the fun part, and we will assemble our Scarecrow. So since he's out in the all types of weather doing his job, he's probably going to be a little dirty. So I thought we would just, grunge him up a little bit. So I just took the sponge dauber and went around here. I mean, once we're done with his hair and everything, you're not actually going to see much of it in the end anyway. And we'll do some on the back too. Because this poor guy, he's out in the sun and the heat and the rain and the cold. He's always out there doing his job. Okay, now on this one here, I used pumpkin pie for his hat. But I thought we would go with oh my goodness, is this copper clay? This is copper clay, yes. I hope so, because that's the ink pad I took out. Okay, so let's have some fun getting him all adorned. Now, it is a good idea to put his face, just put it down so that you have the right placement for his hair. So I'm just going to put his eyes there. And as far as his nose goes, I just took the scissors and I just cut. No, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a little carrot nose. This one here looks a little narrower than the first one, so let's give him a little wider nose. And we just cut another piece here. All right, So I just want to place this because when I made my sample for tonight, I didn't put the face down first, and I had the hair up too high, so the hat was completely covering it. So I still had a little wiggle room. I could bring it down. But it is a good idea to at least get the eyes down there so that you have the placement. All right, so let's put his eyes there. And we're just going to measure the hat. So we want his hair to come down a little longer, so let's bring his face down a little bit more. Okay. So now I glued his hair down. So I didn't glue it all the way to the bottom because, you know, of course your hair moves, right? So I just put a little glue part way down. And then I did the same on the other side. See, I worked side to side and then in from the middle. I'm going to have to fix his face again because I guess my fingers were a little sticky. And I know if you're watching, Carol, you're going, ha, ha, ha. Okay, so you know what? Instead of that, I'm going to put the brim of his hat there. And then I will have the placement for his hair. So what I did with the hair, I just put some glue down here. And then I put it up here. So then I trimmed it. So let me see about how long we'll need his hair to be. We want it to come below his hat. So I'm going to say, yeah, about there. At least I know where to put the glue. Again, I'm just going to put a little bit on here. I'm not going to cover the whole thing because we do want his bangs to move. So that's probably good there. Is that gonna, yeah. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Just put some glue on here. And then a little more glue on this one. Oh, I put the glue up too high on that one. Oh my goodness. What am I thinking? Did I put it in the right? Yeah. Okay, so now we're just going to take the snips and we're just going to cut these tops off here. Because that we don't need. And my snips are going to get a little gooey. Let's get rid of these excess pieces. All right, now we can put his face on. So I use the square buttons for his eyes. I first was going to do them as like diamonds, but then I thought it looked kind of funny, so I just did them as squares. And we'll put his carrot nose on. And then I hand drew his mouth, just like I did with Frankie, but instead of a zigzag, he's going to have a nice smile on his face. And I gave him a little bit of stitching on his mouth. And then I used the round buttons on the ends of his mouth. I first was going to tie some linen thread through these, and then I said, no, that'll be a little too much work. And he already has the stitching on his mouth, so he's good. Up there. His hair ended up under the button. Okay. Very cute. Now what I did with the hat, I took my bone folder and I just kind of curled it all up a bit because, again, you know, he's out in all the elements day and night doing his job. So his hat, of course, gets wet and grungy. And I did the same thing with the top, but I first just took the scissors and just hand cut a little bit to round it off a bit. And again, does not have to be perfect, and I can tell you this is not perfect. And I'm just gonna break down the fibers a little bit in this too, so it looks like a nice weather-worn hat. Okay. And I'm going to sponge it a little bit because, again, his poor hat has been out day and night in all the elements. So, of course, it's not fresh and clean like the day he put it on. There we go with our sponging. And, oh, for the hat, this here, I use the 1 3/4 punch. I could have swore I used a bigger punch. I think that was there from another project. Just a moment. I believe, yes, that was there from another project. I used the 2 3/8 inch punch. And then I had my circle, and I just put it on the paper cutter at 3/4 of an inch, and then I sliced from each end, so I could get 2 hats actually from it. So now what I'm going to do is put a little bit of Tombow right along here, and I'm going to put that just behind the hat. Well, I have to tell you, I don't know, you probably can't see it in the picture, but this one really grunged up nicely. It really looks like a worn hat. Oh, and in case I didn't say it, the top part of the hat is 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And I took this little band here, and we're just going to glue this across it. And that, I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's I don't even think it's a 1/4 inch wide. I just took a piece of paper and made a slice and then made it 1 1/4 wide. Okay, so we will let his hat sit for a minute before I tie the linen thread on it, just to make sure it adheres well. In the meantime, we will get the leaves ready. I'm just going to take the sponge dauber again, and I'm just going to put a little bit of color on them just to make them look like nice, pretty fall leaves that have been turning. And I just happened to notice today, I guess it's from all the dryness we've had, there's hardly any leaves turning. I guess I'm a little late to it, but I actually did not notice that until today. All right, so our leaves are ready for when we add them. So now we're going to take some linen thread, and we're going to tie this around his hat. And I think I did about 18 inches because I doubled it. Okay. So when I'm done, we're going to have one with a pumpkin pie hat and one with a copper clay hat. And of course, I'm going to ask you in the end which one you like better. So you can start thinking about that now. is I'm going to attempt to tie this and make a bow. I have to tell you, when I did it on my sample, I did have to do it twice to get the bow right. So let's see if I am any better tonight after already doing it. The answer probably is going to be no. I'm probably not any better because I'm already having trouble. All right, so I'm going to tie this in a knot first. There we go. And then I'm going to snip that open, and now I will attempt a bow. So let's see how this goes. Not just one bow, but it's a double bow. Well, I have a bow. I don't really know if I like it. I might pull it apart and start it over. Let me see. Let me just play with this a second here, see if I can get it to look any better. Yeah, cut that piece off right there. That's bothering me. That's not too bad. That actually isn't too bad at all. I'll just cut the tails a little bit here. Okay. And I'm going to take one glue dot just to secure it. I always like to do that with my bows on my ribbon or my twine, just so it stays in place. Let's get that behind there. Okay, and his hat is ready. Okay, and with the hat, I actually put this on with glue dots. I thought since this was already raised and we had the twine back there, that it would just sit here better. So let me just get my glue dots on here. Again, we don't want it to be completely, flattened down and glued, because after all, his hat is blowing in the breeze. This last one down there. Okay, you know what? It's like dimensionals. I just feel I have to put two more on here. I'm going to put them on the ends of his hat there. Okay. There we go. And now I'm just going to line this here up so it's just right at the top of his hair. There, perfect. And I'm going to take one leaf. Should we put the green one in the front? Or should we put the yellow one? Oh, I think the yellow one shows up better. Yeah, I did the yellow one on the first treat holder anyway. So I'll just put a little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to lift his hat up a little bit there and just have the leaf sticking out from his hat. Oh my goodness, how cute is that, right? How cute is it? So we will now add that to the front of the box. Just check from behind that I am somewhat straight. It looks somewhat straight. Okay, and now we'll work on the back. So what I did was I just gave him some hair in the back and a leaf and a sentiment. So this hair here, I just trimmed off the top. And let's see about how much we want. Oh, that's still too long. All right, we'll cut it right about there. 2. So tell me, what do these look like to you? I was looking at these when I was making the sample, and all I could think of was a hula skirt. So that's what I see when I look at that. I don't see a broom, I see a hula skirt. So now we will glue his hair on. Again, I'm not putting the glue all the way to the bottom. Okay, and I worked from end to end and then the middle. I could have also distressed his hair a little bit, added some crumb cake ink to it. I actually didn't think of doing it, but as I'm putting it together now, I'm thinking of it. Or maybe that big floppy hat kept his hair nice and neat and clean. It didn't need to be grunged up. As you can see, when you cut the top off of this, you have to be careful. Okay, so there is his hair. And I'm going to add the leaf. This is just so cute. Let me get that underneath his hair there. It's coming out a little bit. And now for our stamping. Just pick up my white scraps here. I have some basic white strips. And I did just the autumn. Get this down here. This set is just so fun. And then just a little snipping. And a little bit on this piece. Now I thought about distressing these like I did for Halloween, and then I decided these sentiments didn't need to be grunged up. They were fine the way they are. So you can tell me what you think. And let's just get our dimensionals on here so we can pop the sentiment up. And yes, I'm using 2 on each. Autumn probably could have had 3, but 2 I'll be able to sleep. It'll be okay. All right, I'm going to glue this onto the other side of the box first, and then we will add the sentiment. And again, just make sure I'm somewhat straight on here. My little bit of wiggle room there. And I apologize. I think I may have just gotten my hair in the camera. I'm not sure. The reason I didn't want to put the sentiment on yet is because I wanted to have this flat so I could push it down. Okay. So it's going to be autumn is the best. So let's get that placed. Okay. I'll take my backings off. And we are almost done. And I just realized I didn't put any chocolates over here, so let me grab the chocolates for this. I'll be right back. Okay. I haven't tried these yet, but they sure sound good. I got these Ghirardelli's pumpkin spice caramel. They're milk chocolate with a pumpkin spice caramel filling. They sure sound good. So you can actually fit 3 in here, but I'm just putting 2 in. All right, everyone. So here we have it. My sample, which I did in pumpkin pie, and tonight's live, which I did in copper clay. So everyone, tell me, what do you think about our Scarecrow? And which coloring do you like best? Do you like him done in pumpkin pie, or do you like it in Cajun craze? Not Cajun craze, copper clay. Hey, it could have been Cajun craze that I picked up, but I used copper clay ink. I'll have to check which I actually did use. My thought had been to use copper clay. Okay, and here's the back. All right, my crafty friends, I hope you enjoyed tonight's treat holder, the last in my month of fall, Halloween and fall treat holders. Next week, I think we'll be back to a card. So I hope you have enjoyed this, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know which color version you like best. And I wish everyone a wonderful and crafty week as always. And I will see you back here next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Thanks, everyone. Bye.